Understanding Shemini Atzeres. We have, at the end of the whole long tkufa of Elul, Yom Neroim, and we have Sukkos, and Hoshana Rabbah, the Shemini Atzeres. And in explaining Shemini Atzeres, Chazal teach us that based on the pasuk, that V'yayim Harishon, on the first day of Sukkos, that we take the lulav and esrog, and we also have korbanos. And the first day of Sukkos, there are 13 parim. There's a large quantity of korbanos. There's 13 parim, and each day of Sukkos it diminishes. It's less and less. The seventh day of Sukkos is only 7. Comes Shemini Atzeres, we don't have this abundance of korbanos. We only have one par. So Chazal teach us as follows, that the total amount of the behemoths that were marked for the korban on Sukkot is 70. It's keneged shivim umus ha'olam, the 70 nations, and it diminishes. It diminishes as the umas, the influence, the power, the umas themselves will diminish. The koyach of the umas will diminish, but not Klal Yisrael. So Shemini Atzeres is a day that's special for Klal Yisrael. But the question arises, if there is a diminishing on Sukkos, surely the korbanos are not only keneged the umas ha'olam. And the korbanos, in fact, are primarily keneged Yisrael. So if there's a diminishing influence, and that has an effect on the nations of the world, doesn't it also have an influence on Klal Yisrael? The ikar of the korbanos is for Klal Yisrael. So if it's diminishing, wouldn't that have an effect on Klal Yisrael as well? And why should, in any event, the focal point be on the korbanos that are diminishing, are getting less and less and less because of the umais? Why is that so significant at this time of the year at Sukkot, and why is that corresponding to the Ummah? Suddenly there is a strong connection between the korbanos that were makriv on the Chag, which is a Chag for Klal Yisrael, and it's connected to the Ummahs. The Medrash Rabbah says that Shemini Atzeres, Kodesh Baruch Hu, it's like a marshal Kodesh Baruch Hu and Klal Yisrael to a melech and his subjects. And the king decided to have a lavish Suda for all of his subjects. And he had the days of the party of the Mishta, and he had a grand feast, a very elaborate feast for all of the citizens, for all of his subjects. And then at the end of the feast, at the end of the Mishta, he says to his inner circle, to his oyavav, to his loved ones, he says, okay, we've now been yotzar achiyuv for everybody else. Let's have a small Suda just for us. So see what you can find, whatever you can find, some vegetables, from any small things that you can find, and let's make a Suda just for us together. For the Oavim of the Melech, the king's inner circle, his close ones. And it says in the pasuk, V'yayim Shemini Atzeres Tia Lachem. Now, how do we understand this, Marshal? What, did the king at the end of the Suda had no more wealth? He had no more means? Why, if he made a lavish Suda for everybody else, why wouldn't he make a special Mishta and a Suda, a lavish Suda for his close ones? He had no more wealth. He was completely exhausted from his wealth at the end of the Mishta, that he couldn't make something special for his Ovim. And certainly, it's not the case when we're talking about the Mashal Gabi Kodesh Baruch Hu. So at the end of Sukkot, why can't there be a special Suda and a special Mishta for Klal Yisrael, for his Ovim? If there is a special Suda for everybody else now, for his closest and loved ones, There's something so small? So how do we understand this? But perhaps the explanation is we know that there is Al Pi the Zohar, this is Harusa de La'ela, and there's Isarusa de Tata. Sometimes the Rabbeinu Shalom influences us, mashpia on us. Sometimes the primary influence comes from above. From Shemaim comes from above. It's mashpia down to us. But sometimes it has to come from the Tata. It has to come from below. It has from ground up. What does this mean? It means that sometimes Kodesh Baruch Hu, in order to bring us close to Him and to elevate us, He showers upon us a hashpa min hashamayim. He shows us nisim, He gives us brachas, He gives us all kinds of siyata d'shmaya. Sometimes it comes from above. When we were in Mitzrayim, we didn't have the capability of being Oved Hashem on a high madrega. We were avodim. So there was a Sarusa de La'ela. Min hashamayim, there were nisim. There were the Makkos, there are all kinds of nisim. There are all kinds of special things that we saw. We saw clearly. Nes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so that we would be able to be mamin, so that we would have belief and come close and have trust. Came Kriyas Yamsuf. They were omid by Yamsuf. So Rabbi Shalom says to Moshe, why are you crying now? Why are you davening now? Darul ben Israel, so tell him to go into the Yam. So what do you mean? Why are you davening now? Why jump into? Isn't this the time to daven? But now, no. Now, after they had all this Harus de La'ela, it's now time for them to. That emunah has to come from within. It's Harusa Latata. Now they have to demonstrate and have show and come from within and come from below and come up from below up to Hashem. Jump into the Yam. We have the days of Sukkot. Where there's Isarus de Leila. We come into the Sukkah. It's Sultan Aminusa. We're under the shade of the Sukkah of the Rabbeinu Shalom. We have the Dalan Minim. We have these mitzvahs that enable from Shamayim to be a hashpa, that the Kodesh Baruch Hu is protecting us and guiding us. We have the korbanos, the Porei Achag. We have the multiple korbanos. Yes, it's Keneged Umas Ha'olam, and it's Keneged the Umas Ha'olam and a bracha for the world. But it's primarily for Klal Yisrael. We have this multitude of korbanos, more than any other chag. Because there's a hashpa with all those korbanos, it's mashpia min hashamayim, from shamayim, it's mashpia down to us, and it gives us this hashpa and this closeness to the Rabbeinu Shalom. But it diminishes. Each day of Sukkot it gets less and less. Because each day of Sukkot, it now transitions. It begins to transition. There's this abundance of hashpa min hashamayim that showers down on us, and each day of Sukkot it diminishes and starts a transition where it gets a little bit less from in the Shemaim down to us, and in the middle a bit more and more where we have to come from the Oretz to the Shemaim. We have to elevate ourselves. And that's the derech of the Rabbeinu Shalom. He showers us with hashpahs and influences and hashgacha and bracha and nisim in order to enable us to have the amunah and bitachon of the Rabbeinu Shalom, to come close to the Rabbeinu Shalom. But then there's a time where we have to now, from ourselves, from within, we have to bring ourselves up. We have to bring ourselves up. We've been given all of these brachas. Now we have to demonstrate, and now we have to come up to Him. So there's a dual purpose and a dual meaning in what the Medrash is saying. It's keneged the umas ha'olam, that it diminishes, because the umas ha'olam is ma'atim v'holchem, but it's also keneged Yisrael, because the hashba that we get from the Shemaim is also misma'at v'holch. But corresponding to that diminishing of the influence min hashamayim means that there's more and more that we have to bring ourselves up and come up to Hashem, until Shemini Ateret, where it's now up to us. We don't have the sukkah, we don't have the daled minim, we don't have the multitude of korbanos. It's like the Suda that the Melech says to his inner circle, to his oyav, to his inner circle. We've had this lavish Suda for all the citizens. They need this, because without this, they will not be loyal subjects. But you are my oyavim. You are my inner ones. I want to rejoice with you. Not because of the external factors, not because of the Seudim, not because of the superficial items. I want to rejoice with you. Bring whatever it is, a liturgical yerek. But I want the closeness to be with you, not because of the Seuda. V'yom Shemini Atzeres, lachem. It's lachem, the dogesh is on lachem. It's you, and it has to come from you. It has to come from you, without the external factors. That's the avodah, Sukkos, Shemini Atzeres, and Sukkos we have all of this hashpah min hashamayim, and slowly we have to transition and now have it come from within, more and more from within, without aids, without our hands being held, more and more from our desires and from our kayach to come closer and come up and bring ourselves up to Shamayim. Until on Shemini Atzeres, it's just a Rabbeinu Shalom in us, meaning without all of the assistance, without all of the hand-holding, just with the rotzen to come close to Hashem, to the Voida with the Rabbeinu Shalom. You know, when we, in our generation in particular, we want to give everything we can to our children, we want to give everything we can to Talmidim. The situation of Bochrim and Yeshivas today, I think, is probably unprecedented in history. The amount that we try to make it comfortable for the Yeshiva Bochrim and the girls, boys and girls who are learning in Chadorim and Beis Yaakov, etc., and try to make the situation of life and generally situation more comfortable, make it easier and greater assistance, and try to help them more. And our Gedolim teach us that it's a shvach hador, and it's Yeridas Aderis, and we have to assist them more and more. But there's an element of withdrawing without the hand-holding and without the external factors in order to make it real and meaningful and to make it really internalize the messages and the Avodas Hashem. There is an element of withdrawing some of all of this huge support system to make it more and more meaningful and real. Yedid Nefesh, Rav Goin, Rav Moshe Hachman Shlita, told me several occasions, he was a Talmud Muvhak of Rav Ruderman Zatzal, and he said Rav Ruderman used to say that the situation in Slobodka, and the Gashmia situation, was very, very dire. They really didn't, in times where they didn't have enough food, and it was cold in the winter, but they had Balakishan there, they had Asmara there, they were learning there, the level of learning there was unbelievable. But they struggled. They struggled. It was a difficult situation. The physical situation, the Gashmi situation, very difficult. But he said one winter, it was over kimat enigvul. It was the most difficult winter that he can recall. He said that winter, the mamash, kimat, did not have food. The kimat were starving. The kimat did not have what to eat, and it was a bitter, bitter, bitter cold winter. And they were freezing, and they were hungry, they were starving and freezing. It was a long, cold, bitter winter. And he said that Zman was the best Zman of learning that they ever had. That was the best Zman of learning that they ever had. It was Torah, and only Torah. That is the balancing act of our lives. There's times when we need hand-holding, we need assistance, and times when the Rabbeinu Shalom gives us brachas, showers us with brachas in an open way. Isarusa Elo. But there are times when we have to balance it, and when it's withdrawn, and we have to now, without hand-holding, without training wheels, without assistance, Isarusa Deltata, we have to elevate ourselves and bring ourselves up from within and come close.